Okay, Justice League The Throne of Atlantis doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and there is one scene that completely encapsulates this more than anything, and it's this scene right here.
I was born of two worlds, Atlantean by birth, human by instinct. Join me, and we will bridge those worlds in peace.
And the reason is this scene is supposed to feel triumphant, and you're supposed to feel like Aquaman has finally become the king he was always meant to be. Except I feel nothing because nothing was set up properly for the context of this movie. Now, this movie is around an hour and 15 minutes long. In that time, they had to show us that Superman and Wonder Woman were dating. They had to show us that Cyborg has still not completely come to grips with the fact that he cannot have a normal life. He cannot be with somebody, and that plotline never gets developed properly, by the way. It's just has a start, and then Shazam tells us that him and some chick have chemistry, and then they go on and date by the end of the movie. Also, this is not the only romance that is completely underdeveloped, by the way. Well, we'll get to the other one in a second. And then the main plot finally kicks in when Cyborg goes to investigate a submarine that was wrecked by some mysterious creature, somebody mysterious rather, which brings us to the many plot holes in this movie. Cyborg tries to find out what happened to the submarine through some monitor that was apparently still functional, even though the submarine was absolutely wrecked and was filled with water. It was flooded with water. But that's a nitpick, even though it's not. But let's count it as a nitpick. The actual plot hole is that he gets attacked by the same mysterious creatures that wrecked the ship. Now, was there any logical reason why they were still in that ship? No. Was there any reason why they even attacked Cyborg? No, it was done purely to progress the plot forward. Then, after all this screwery, they finally go to Arthur, the hero, the protagonist of the story. This movie is titled Justice League The Throne of Atlantis, and we meet him about 20 minutes into the movie. Anyway, he is in a bar grieving over the loss of his father, and he's talking to a lobster rather. Yeah, I'm baffled. There's a fight that breaks out because we need to know what his superpowers are. I mean, because he's a nice guy who wants to save the lobster's life from being someone's meal. There's a fight that breaks out anyway. We find out that he's not really a skilled fighter. He's more of a brawler with super strength and insane durability. So he overcomes these bullies. Then we go back to the Justice League. By the way, this is the reason I'm summing up the plot of this movie, because I know no one has remembered what happened in this movie if they have even watched it. And for those who do, they just remember it because of how comical it is. So we're back to the Justice League. They're just reassembling their team. Then they have an entire little chase sequence with a bunch of Scarecrow sidekicks. Yeah, they exist. That Batman is tracking down. This movie is an hour and 13 minutes long, and we've hit the 30-minute mark. And they still haven't assembled the Justice League, or have shown us anything meaningful about Aquaman's journey. So, speaking of Aquaman, we go back to see him. He's still grieving over his father, and he misses him a lot. We know that because he looks at a bunch of photos and he cries. I feel nothing while all of this is happening because they haven't even shown us a single scene of these two with each other and what they really mean to each other. So some doctor, I'm just gonna move on. Some doctor just wants to talk to Aquaman about his father, and he gets killed immediately by the Atlanteans. He is completely useless, and they actually dedicated some time to this random doctor, only for him to die and not be relevant to the plot whatsoever. What a waste. And then we go to the Atlanteans, and we meet the villain. We know he's a villain because Our first impression of him is that he tries to charm a woman and the woman despises him. So he's the villain of the story. Then we find out he is there to see his mother, the ruler of Atlantis. Oh, by the way, while this is going on, Arthur was also flipping through some old albums and saw a picture of his father and his mother together. Whatever. Then we also find out that his mother is the ruler of Atlantis. No wonder why I am doing a plot synopsis. I have watched this movie 10 minutes ago and it's already fading from my memory, faster than what I remember for having as my breakfast. So yeah, plot summary is absolutely necessary. Anyway, the Justice League are finally assembled and they figure out that the Atlanteans are the ones who are responsible for the wrecking of the ship. No shit. The villain... By the way, I can't remember what his name is, the villain's name. I think it's, Ocean Master, is it? Yeah. Wait, quick Google search. Yeah, it's Ocean Master. Yay. For my good memory. Not really, I don't remember a lot of this movie. Anyway, his entire motivation is that he thinks the surface world will come to war, and he also believes that Atlanteans are superior and they should be taking over the surface dwellers instead of hiding from them in fear. So, yeah, he is a pretty stock villain who is just doing bad guy things because he has a giant ego. Pretty basic stuff. But there is a memorable moment that I do remember him by, which is that he backstabs his own mother. It just shows you what a huge sociopath he is, and that's great. Only good moment he ever has in this movie, and it was good. Shows you how sleazy he can be, how manipulative and sneaky he really is. By the way, there is also a fight that happens in this movie. Aquaman is attacked by the Atlanteans and Mera saves him and she takes him to Atlantis. That's it. That's how he ends up in Atlantis. Also, while all of this is going on, they somehow try to force a romance between Mera and Aquaman. I have no idea why. I don't even know why they like each other. They just do because the plot demands it from their characters. Like, at least Superman and Wonder Woman have the fact that they are two people who don't fit, who are viewed by the public as literal gods. And that at least propels them to try to have a relationship with each other. I don't know why Aquaman and Mera are in a relationship. And, by the way, if you're complaining about the fact that this is a kid's movie, this is a cartoon, it's not meant to be taken that seriously, why are they doing so much then? Why can't they just have some fun? Why can't they just blow stuff up? Why can't they just insert fart jokes? Why are they trying to have emotional beats and then just forgetting that they have some emotional beats in this movie and just completely moving the plot forward because they just have to make this movie? I don't know what this is. But yeah, that's my biggest problem with this movie. It just feels like every single emotional beat that Aquaman's journey has is just completely glazed over. His relationship with his father is not explored at all. His romance with Mera is just forced, but, at least we have some abandonment issues with his mother that he can still deal with, right? No, apparently she just gets killed by the Ocean Master guy before Aquaman even has a chance to meet his own mother. Why? What was the point of that development? By the way, the villain, again, Ocean Master, is his name, I believe, blamed the death of the queen on the surface world. And there was also an entire sequence where he used a submarine to annihilate a group of Atlanteans. Hardcore stuff. Killing his own people just for a mission he wants to fulfill. And then, he also says that his mother was killed by the surface dwellers to nudge the Atlanteans to go to war against the surface world. And he's been planning and manipulating these people, and then when he meets the Justice League for the first time, he just straight up confesses that he was the one who killed his mother. Like, doesn't even deny it, doesn't do any sneaky shit. He just straight up tells them. He just admits it. Because a later part in the story requires him to say this. It wasn't a part of his character. It was already established that he was a sleazebag and that he is just completely and utterly obsessed with taking over the surface world. And he is manipulative. He's not a badass. And yet they just do something completely out of his character because the plot requires it. Because later, Cyborg apparently recorded everything that he said and just displayed it. We'll get to that part later. So let's talk about the main problem of this movie. The fact that Arthur's hero's journey is completely devoid of all emotions and struggle. They dedicated almost half of this movie to the Justice League assembling and some plot lines that just made the story feel more convoluted than it was. And they also glazed over any emotional journey Aquaman has with his mother and with his father. And he's also just reacting to the plot for 60% of the movie. It's not his actions and their consequences that propel the plot. It's some Atlanteans attacking his house and him falling unconscious and being taken to Atlantis, then being attacked by some Atlantean creatures, getting help from the Justice League, and then Superman telling him to go to Atlantis. That makes the plot move forward. So now let's go back to the scene where he finally becomes King of Atlantis. Did he have any emotional journey? No. Was there anything set up that he was actually a great leader? No. Did he even want to be a great leader? Was there any hint that he was always meant to have something more? No. He just stumbled into this one day and he just became a king of an entire kingdom. Now, let's get back to the openly confessing of Ocean Master, the ridiculousness of it. So, apparently, Batman just realized that Cyborg has recorded everything that he sees. So he just tells Cyborg to show all the Atlanteans that Ocean Master openly confessed about killing his mother. And the Atlanteans turn on him. That's fair. But they do not show the fact that he was the one who was also behind killing the Atlanteans using human weapons, surface dweller weapons. So, as far as I'm concerned, they should have a bigger grudge towards Atlantis than they actually do. And they should be fighting. And they shouldn't just accept Aquaman, a guy who was born half an Atlantean but lived on the surface world as a king. They should have way more issues. But they just accept it. No idea why, they just accept it. It would have made more sense for Mira to become the king or queen of Atlantis than Aquaman. But Aquaman is the title character, and even though we have not developed any of his character properly, and we have not dedicated enough screen time for the audience to resonate with his journey properly, we're just gonna make him the king anyway. Now, finally, let's just talk about the power hierarchy over here. Superman, a guy who is the definition of overpowered. Like, if you want to write a character who is overpowered, like any screenwriter wants to write a character who is overpowered, you'll probably pick the power set of Superman, because he is that goddamn overpowered. He gets defeated by Ocean Master in 12 seconds. Not even a fight. And in the meanwhile, Aquaman, whom we saw at the start of the movie as not much of a fighter and more of a brawler, he goes head to head with Ocean Master, almost equaling him in every blow, and even gets the better of him. I don't know why. He doesn't even get any training. Like, at least the live action Aquaman movie had something about him and how he can learn some new tricks, and those new skills helped him win the. You know what? Let's just start it over. Like, at least in the live action Aquaman movie, you see him learning some new tricks from Willem Dafoe, and he uses those skills to beat Ocean Master in the movie. But here, he gets nothing. Now, I will say there are some good things about this movie. The banter between The Flash and Hal Jordan Green Lantern, amazing. I love these two whenever they're on screen together. I like the fact that Cyborg actually gets some stuff to do instead of, being shoved to the side in favor of some more popular and important characters, quite frankly. That's great. And Shazam and Hal Jordan are so entertaining in this movie that they almost make up for the lack of story and the lack of thought they put into this movie. I was actually very excited to do this. So hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave a like. It helps this video a lot, and do let me know how my first movie analysis video was in the comments. Hope you have a great day. Goodbye.